Hi everyone, this is Chain Guru. Today, we will explore one of the most critical components of supply chain management, logistics and transportation. The transportation and logistics sector forms the backbone of global trade, enabling the movement of goods from manufacturers to consumers. By the end of this session, you'll understand the different modes of transportation and their applications, the essentials of freight and shipping management, the role of reverse logistics and returns management in modern supply chains, the complexities of last-mile delivery, especially in e-commerce. To make this session engaging, we will reference real-world examples from companies like Amazon, Walmart, Maersk, FedEx, and others. These organizations represent best practices in logistics and transportation. Let's get into today's agenda. We'll be exploring four major components that shape the entire logistics and transportation landscape. Each one plays a unique role in how products move through the supply chain, and understanding them will give you a clearer picture of the complexity behind even the simplest deliveries. We'll start with the different modes of transportation. This includes road, rail, air, and sea. Each mode has its strengths and trade-offs. For example, trucks are great for flexibility and last-mile delivery, while ships are ideal for moving large quantities across oceans at a lower cost. Planes? They're fast, but expensive. And trains often strike a balance between cost efficiency and capacity. We'll talk about when and why companies choose one mode over another, and how combining modes, what we call intermodal transport, can create even more efficient systems. Next, we'll dive into freight management, the engine that keeps goods flowing smoothly. This includes everything from choosing carriers and negotiating rates to tracking shipments and ensuring goods arrive on time and in good condition. We'll also look at how technology is transforming this space with tools like real-time tracking, transportation management systems, TMS, and AI-driven route optimization. Companies like FedEx and Maersk have been leading the way here. Then we'll shift gears and talk about reverse logistics, which is all about the flow of goods moving backward through the supply chain, returns, repairs, recycling, and disposal. This has become especially important with the rise of e-commerce. Think about how easy it is to return something you bought online. Behind that convenience is a well-oiled reverse logistics operation. We'll explore how companies like Amazon have built systems to handle millions of returns efficiently, while still keeping customers happy. And finally, we'll tackle the beast that is last-mile delivery, the final leg of a product's journey from a distribution center to the customer's doorstep. This is often the most expensive and complicated part of the supply chain. We'll look at the challenges involved, like traffic, delivery windows, customer expectations, and how companies are innovating to solve them. Think drones, delivery lockers, and even crowdsourced delivery models. Alright, let's kick things off by looking at the different modes of transportation that logistics depends on. There are five main ones: road, rail, air, sea, and intermodal, which is basically a combination of two or more modes working together. Each of these has its own strengths, challenges, and specific uses. So let's start with one we're all very familiar with: road transportation. Let's start by taking a closer look at road transportation, one of the most commonly used modes in logistics. Road transport includes trucks, vans, and other vehicles that travel on highways, city streets, and everything in between. It's the most flexible mode of transportation out there and is especially useful for short to medium distances. Now, why is road transport so widely used? Well, there are some clear advantages. First, it offers high flexibility. Routes can be changed quickly, and deliveries can be adjusted on the fly, something that's much harder to do with air or sea freight. It's also the go-to for last-mile delivery, which is the final stretch of a product's journey to the customer. This is where road transport really shines. And for shorter distances, it's usually the most cost-effective option. But like any mode of transport, it comes with its downsides. It's often affected by traffic congestion, road closures, or weather conditions, all of which can lead to delays. And from an environmental standpoint, road transportation tends to have a higher carbon footprint compared to rail or sea. Now, to put this into perspective, let's look at Amazon. The company relies heavily on road transport for its last-mile deliveries. You've probably seen their Amazon delivery vans cruising through neighborhoods, dropping off packages. Many of these are operated by Amazon Flex drivers, who use their own vehicles to fulfill deliveries. But Amazon is also aware of the environmental impact of all those vans on the road. That's why they're investing in electric vehicles, a move that not only helps reduce emissions but also aligns with their broader sustainability goals. So, while road transport is essential, especially for getting products right to a customer's door, it's a mode that requires constant innovation to stay efficient, reliable, and eco-friendly. Next, let's talk about rail transportation, a mode that doesn't always get the spotlight but plays a huge role in moving goods efficiently, especially over long distances. Rail is most commonly used for transporting bulk goods, things like building materials, appliances, or large quantities of packaged products. It's especially effective when you're moving heavy loads across vast distances, like from coast to coast. So, what makes rail transport appealing? Here are a few key advantages. First, it's cost-efficient, particularly for heavy or high-volume shipments. Trains can carry a lot more at once than trucks, and that scale brings the cost down. It's also more environmentally friendly than road transport. Trains use less fuel per ton-mile, which means lower carbon emissions. And rail often runs on reliable, consistent schedules, making it easier for companies to plan around. Of course, there are also a few limitations. The biggest one is flexibility. Rail networks are fixed. You can't just reroute a train the way you can with a truck. And because rail can't take goods directly to most final destinations, it typically needs intermodal support, like trucks, to handle the last leg of the journey. A great example of this in action is Walmart. They use rail transport to move goods from their major distribution centers to regional warehouses across the country. It's a cost-effective solution for bulk shipments, especially when speed isn't the top priority. But once those goods get to the regional hubs, Walmart switches to trucks for final delivery, combining the strengths of both rail and road. This is a perfect example of intermodal logistics in action. So, while rail may not be the flashiest mode of transportation, it's crucial for keeping large-scale supply chains running efficiently and sustainably. Now let's take to the skies and talk about air transportation, the fastest mode of transport available in logistics, but also the most expensive. Air transport is all about speed. It's the go-to option when goods need to move quickly, whether it's urgent documents, high-value electronics, or perishable items like fresh flowers or pharmaceuticals. Let's start with the advantages. The biggest one is obviously speed. Air transport allows for quick delivery, often within a day or two, even across continents. It also offers global reach. Airports are connected across every corner of the world, making it possible to ship internationally with incredible efficiency. Of course, that kind of speed comes at a price. So let's look at the disadvantages. High costs are the biggest drawback. Air freight is significantly more expensive than other modes, which limits it to certain types of goods, usually smaller, high-value, or time-sensitive items. It also has limited capacity for bulky or heavy shipments. You're not loading a plane with pallets of heavy machinery. And finally, it has a significant carbon footprint. Planes burn a lot of fuel, which makes this one of the least environmentally friendly options. A great real-world example of air transport in action is DHL Express. They specialize in fast, international deliveries and rely heavily on air freight to meet tight deadlines. If you've ever tracked a package and seen it fly from one country to another overnight, that's air transport in motion. And during the COVID-19 pandemic, air freight played a critical role in keeping supply chains moving. It was essential for transporting medical supplies like masks, gloves, and vaccines quickly across borders when time was a matter of life and death. So, air transportation may not be used for everything, but when speed and reliability are non-negotiable, it's often the best, and sometimes the only, choice. Now let's shift gears and talk about sea transportation, the workhorse of global trade. When it comes to moving large volumes of goods across long distances, especially internationally, sea freight is by far the most cost-effective option. It's not the fastest, but for businesses that are shipping in bulk, it's often the best choice. Let's look at some of the advantages. First, it's very cost-efficient, especially for bulk goods like raw materials, manufactured products, or even vehicles. The ability to move massive quantities in a single shipment keeps costs low. It's also ideal for global trade. Most of the world's imports and exports, around 90%, are moved by sea. But like every mode, it does come with a few downsides. The biggest is slow transit time. Unlike air freight, sea shipping can take weeks, depending on the route and distance. It's also vulnerable to disruptions. Things like bad weather, port congestion, or even geopolitical issues can delay shipments. A great example of sea freight in action is Maersk, which is actually the largest container shipping company in the world. They handle a huge portion of global maritime trade. For instance, Maersk ships raw materials from Asia to Europe, where they're then used in manufacturing. Without companies like Maersk, global supply chains wouldn't function, at least not on the scale or cost efficiency we rely on today. So while sea transportation may not be fast, it's absolutely essential for keeping shelves stocked and economies running, especially when you're dealing with high volumes and international trade. Now that we've looked at the major modes of transportation individually, let's talk about a strategy that brings them together, and that's intermodal transportation. Intermodal simply means using two or more different modes of transport in a single shipment. So that could be rail and road, or air and truck, or even sea and rail. Whatever combination helps move goods more efficiently and cost-effectively. The goal here is to combine the strengths of each mode while minimizing their weaknesses. Let's talk about the advantages. Intermodal allows companies to optimize their logistics. For example, using rail or sea for the long, cost-efficient part of the journey, and trucks for the flexible, last-mile delivery. It's also often more sustainable, especially when rail or sea is part of the route, since those modes produce fewer emissions per ton-mile. But intermodal logistics isn't without its challenges. It requires a lot of coordination. You're dealing with multiple carriers, schedules, and handoffs, which adds complexity. And there's always a risk of delays at transition points, like ports or rail yards, where one mode hands off to another. A great example of intermodal in action is FedEx. They're known for their speed, but they also need to manage costs. So, they'll often use air transport to cover long distances quickly, and then switch to road transport for the last mile. This combination lets them balance speed, cost, and reliability, a key advantage in today's competitive delivery market. So, intermodal transportation really reflects the modern approach to logistics: strategic, flexible, and optimized for both performance and sustainability. Let's move on to an essential part of logistics: freight and shipping management. At its core, this is all about planning, coordinating, and monitoring the movement of goods from one location to another. But it's not just about getting items from point A to point B, it's about doing it efficiently, cost-effectively, and reliably. Good freight management ensures that goods arrive on time, in good condition, and at the lowest possible cost. This involves selecting the right carriers, negotiating shipping rates, optimizing routes, and tracking shipments in real time. It also includes managing documentation, understanding customs regulations for international shipments, and preparing for unexpected disruptions, like weather delays, strikes, or even global events like the COVID-19 pandemic. Technology plays a huge role here. Tools like transportation management systems, TMS, help companies automate and optimize their shipping processes, improving both visibility and decision-making. When done well, freight and shipping management doesn't just reduce costs, it enhances customer satisfaction, strengthens supply chain resilience, and gives businesses a competitive edge. So, it's not just a back-end operation, it's a strategic function that directly impacts a company's success. Let's take a moment to talk about freight optimization, which is a key part of effective shipping management. Freight optimization means finding the best combination of mode, route, and carrier to move goods in the most cost-effective and efficient way possible. It's about using data and strategy to cut unnecessary costs, reduce transit times, and improve overall performance. A great example of this is Procter & Gamble. P&G uses advanced analytics to study their shipping patterns. By analyzing data from past shipments, they've figured out how to consolidate loads, reduce trips, and lower fuel consumption. The result? Lower costs, faster deliveries, and a smaller environmental footprint. It's a smart, data-driven approach that more companies are adopting to stay competitive in today's fast-moving supply chain world. Now let's talk about freight forwarders, who play a critical role in international logistics. Freight forwarders act as intermediaries between businesses and transportation services. Their job is to handle the complex logistics involved in moving goods across borders, things like booking cargo space, preparing documentation, managing customs clearance, and coordinating with multiple carriers. They don't typically own the ships or trucks. They organize and manage the entire shipping process on behalf of their clients. A great example is Kina plus Nagel, one of the world's leading freight forwarders. They help global companies like Unilever manage their cross-border shipments by taking care of everything from transport arrangements to customs paperwork. Thanks to freight forwarders, companies can navigate international shipping with less risk, fewer delays, and greater peace of mind. In today's fast-paced world, modern freight management is powered by technology. Companies are no longer relying on guesswork or manual planning. They're using tools like GPS tracking, route optimization software, and predictive analytics to manage shipments smarter and faster. These technologies help businesses monitor shipments in real time, respond quickly to delays, and plan more efficient delivery routes. The result? Lower costs, faster deliveries, and better customer service. A great example of this is UPS. They use a system called Orion, which stands for On-Road Integrated Optimization and Navigation. Orion analyzes millions of data points to create the most efficient delivery routes, helping UPS save millions of gallons of fuel every year. It's a great example of how smart technology leads to smarter logistics. Let's now talk about something that's just as important as getting products to customers, getting them back. This is where reverse logistics and returns management come in. Reverse logistics refers to the process of moving goods from the customer back to the seller or manufacturer. It covers returns, repairs, recycling, and even product recalls. This process is especially critical in e-commerce, where return rates can be as high as 30% due to issues like sizing, quality, or simply customer preference. Managing returns efficiently helps reduce costs, recover value from returned items, and keep customers happy. Companies that handle this well, like Amazon and Zappos, gain a competitive edge by offering fast, hassle-free returns, which builds trust and encourages repeat purchases. Reverse logistics isn't just about handling returns. It plays a strategic role in modern supply chains. First, it improves customer satisfaction by offering easy, convenient return options. In today's competitive market, a smooth return process can make the difference between a one-time buyer and a loyal customer. Second, it allows companies to recover value from returned goods. Instead of discarding items, businesses can refurbish, repair, or recycle them, turning potential losses into new opportunities. Third, reverse logistics contributes to sustainability, helping reduce waste and support a circular economy. A great example is IKEA. They encourage customers to return used furniture, which they then refurbish and resell at discounted prices, reducing waste and giving products a second life. Reverse logistics is smart business, and smart for the planet. While reverse logistics brings many benefits, it also comes with some serious challenges that companies must manage carefully. First, there's the issue of high costs. Processing returns requires extra labor, transportation, and storage, which can significantly impact a company's bottom line. Second, it complicates inventory management. Unlike outgoing products, returned items can arrive in various conditions, making it harder to track and organize stock accurately. And third, there's quality control. Businesses must inspect returned items to decide whether they can be resold, refurbished, or recycled, which adds time and effort to the process. A great example is Zara, which uses a centralized reverse logistics system to process returns efficiently, ensuring that items are either restocked quickly or responsibly recycled. Reverse logistics is essential, but handling it well requires smart systems and careful planning. Let's talk about last-mile delivery, the final and often most critical step in the supply chain. This is when goods are delivered directly to the customer's doorstep. While it sounds simple, it's actually one of the most challenging and expensive parts of logistics. Traffic, delivery time windows, and failed delivery attempts all add complexity and cost. Yet, it's also where customer impressions are made, so getting it right is essential for customer satisfaction and brand loyalty. While last-mile delivery is crucial for customer satisfaction, it comes with several key challenges that businesses are constantly trying to solve. First, there's the cost. Believe it or not, last-mile delivery can make up to 53% of the total shipping cost, making it the most expensive part of the supply chain. Second, there's the pressure of speed. With rising expectations for same-day or next-day delivery, companies must move faster than ever. Then we have urban congestion. Delivering in cities means dealing with heavy traffic and limited parking, which slows everything down. And finally, there's the issue of sustainability. More deliveries mean more vehicles on the road, which increases emissions and environmental impact. Solving these challenges is key to building efficient, customer-friendly delivery systems. To tackle the many challenges of last-mile delivery, companies are turning to innovative solutions that are smarter, faster, and more sustainable. One major shift is toward electric vehicles. For example, Amazon is rolling out a fleet of electric delivery vans through its partnership with Rivian, cutting fuel costs and emissions. Then there's the use of drones. UPS Flight Forward uses drones to deliver critical medical supplies to hospitals, bypassing traffic and saving valuable time. Another smart approach is lockers and pickup points. Alibaba operates pickup lockers in urban areas, helping reduce delivery costs and emissions. And finally, there's crowdsourced delivery, like Uber Eats, which uses local gig workers for food delivery. This flexible model could easily extend to parcels. These innovations are shaping the future of last-mile logistics. In today's digital world, companies are using data and analytics to transform how last-mile delivery works. This approach is known as data-driven last-mile optimization. By analyzing customer behavior and order history, companies can predict demand, plan ahead, and allocate resources more efficiently. They also use real-time data to optimize delivery routes, reduce delays, and cut fuel consumption. A great example is Walmart. Walmart uses artificial intelligence to analyze shopping patterns and forecast demand in specific areas. This allows them to assign delivery drivers and inventory more effectively, ensuring faster, more reliable service. It's not just about speed, it's about efficiency, cost savings, and better customer experiences. Data is becoming one of the most powerful tools in last-mile logistics. To wrap up for today, we explored the 5 modes of transportation, freight and shipping management, reverse logistics, and last-mile delivery challenges. Companies like Amazon, Walmart, and Maersk demonstrate how innovation and efficiency drive success in these areas. As logistics evolves, sustainability, AI, and customer-centric strategies play a vital role. Remember, logistics is the backbone of supply chains, connecting businesses to consumers. I encourage you to think critically about applying these insights. If you have any question, please feel free to drop it down below. Don't forget to subscribe our channel and I will see you in the next session. Take care, bye. If you have any question, please feel free to drop it down below. Don't forget to subscribe our channel and I will see you in the next session. Take care, bye.